And now we'll get to the final headliner topic on this edition of the Rock News Roundup podcast, and that is the 2025 Tour Madness. It seems like every band under the sun announced a tour for 2025 this week. I've been looking through articles and looking for different things to talk about on the podcast, and then I was seeing like every band. There were so many bands announcing tours and announcing shows that I thought I would just run them all down, put them into one segment so everybody can get an idea of all these bands that are hitting the road over 2025. But it's going to be a good year, guys. I can guarantee that. This one isn't really a tour, but I did want to mention it. That Blink-182 and Alkaline Trio are going to be doing a show at the LA Palladium on February the 13th, which is a benefit show, which is proceeds benefiting like local LA charities, those affected by the LA wildfires. And I just want to say this is really cool because obviously Matt Skiba, who is the singer and vocalist of Alkaline Trio, joined Blink-182 for a spell there for a few years when Tom DeLonge was in the band. They made California, they did California Deluxe Edition, and then they did 9 as well. And this is really, really cool because obviously Tom DeLonge came back to Blink-182. They did one more time, and now Blink, the classic lineup of Blink, is back together and doing their thing, out there making music, out there playing shows. And it was kind of sad that Matt Skiba, even though he filled in for Tom DeLonge, that he wasn't able to keep doing his thing with the band. So he went back to his original band, Alkaline Trio, and it's cool to see that there's no bad blood between the parties. They're getting back together. They're going to be doing this LA benefit show. And if you're in LA, this is actually going to be a really, really cool show. So you get to see Blink, you get to see Alkaline Trio. Maybe, who knows, maybe Matt Skiba will get up with Blink and play some of those California era tracks, whether it be Bored to Death or She's Out of Her Mind or Sober or something like that. I think that would be cool because Blink-182 actually do play Bored to Death, I think, in their set with Tom DeLonge singing Matt Skiba's parts. So I think that would be really cool if Matt Skiba maybe hopped over into the Blink set and maybe sang some of those California era tracks with them. I think that would be really cool. And then let's run into these tours, okay, guys? The big one that was announced last week is that 9 Inch Nails are going on tour in 2025. It's going to be called the Peel It Back Tour. It's going to kick off June the 15th in Dublin. It's going to hit Europe before going across North America. So August the 6th it kicks off in Oakland, California, before finishing up September the 19th at the Kia Forum in LA. If you're like me and you live in the Southern Ontario region, they're going to be playing Toronto on August the 23rd at Scotiabank Arena, which is where I saw them back in 2009. I've seen 9 Inch Nails live once. Saw them in 2009 on the Slip tour, which was an absolutely incredible show. Like 9 Inch Nails, aside from just the great music that I love from 9 Inch Nails, their show is just spectacular. You know that when you buy a ticket to a 9 Inch Nails show that you are getting a full concert experience, the audio experience, the visual experience. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to buy tickets for this particular tour, but I have very, very fond memories of going to see 9 Inch Nails back in 2009. I can't believe that it was that long ago, but just absolutely blew me away. One of the best shows I've ever seen. So 9 Inch Nails, definitely a band worth seeing live, and they've been kind of out of the scene for the last little while. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have been doing a lot of soundtracks for different movies and that kind of thing. So see 9 Inch Nails back in the saddle for the Peel It Back tour is really, really cool. So I'm going to enjoy that for sure. And then this one's actually really cool. Jet. You guys remember Jet, right? Big band from the mid 2000s with Are You Gonna Be My Girl and Rollover DJ and Cold Hard Bitch and songs like that. They've been out of the scene for a while. They kind of disbanded for a bunch of years, probably over a decade. But they're back together. They're doing their thing and they're going on tour across North America with Band of Skulls, which is a great UK band that I really, really love. Band of Skulls. If you haven't listened to them, check them out. The Sweet Sour record is really, really good. And this is going to be a good tour as well, kicking off in Toronto, my neck of the woods, on May 27th at History in Toronto. Every band who comes to Toronto, if you don't know History, History is Drake's venue in Toronto, in like the far east end of Toronto. So it's Drake's venue. I've been there a couple of times. I saw Biffy Clyro there. I'm trying to see who else. Maybe I just saw Biffy there. But History, it's an okay venue. It's very kind of modern, trendy, hipster kind of venue, but it's a good space to go see bands. So that's where Jet is going to be playing on May the 27th at History in Toronto. And then they're going to wrap things up in Minneapolis, Minnesota on June the 15th. So that's actually really cool. Jet getting back together and doing a tour. That'll be really cool as well. And then Incubus are going on tour across North America as well with their Morning View tour. Last year, they did the Morning View 23 album where they re-recorded the classic Morning View album and went on tour to support it and playing the album in full. And they're going to be joined by Manchester Orchestra on this tour, which is going to be Morning View plus the hits. So they play the whole Morning View album and then another set of all the big Incubus hits. And that's going to be kicking off in Nashville on June the 25th before wrapping up in Los Angeles on October the 4th, and they are going to be playing in Toronto on June the 30th at the Budweiser stage, where I've seen multiple shows over the years. I've probably seen over a dozen shows at the former Molson Amphitheater, now called the Budweiser stage. What else we got here? LS Dunes, who just released their new record Violet this weekend. I'm going to be listening to that today, featuring different members of Coheed and Cambria and Thursday and My Chemical Romance and of course Circa Survive. LS Dunes are going to be going on tour across North America as well, with From Indian Lakes opening up all the dates. April the 8th is the first date in Austin, Texas, and then they're going to close it out May the 11th in Phoenix, Arizona. Modest Mouse are back and going on tour as well. They're going to be opening up their tour June the 9th in Lake Buena Vista, Florida at the House of Blues Orlando, which I've been to before. I've seen a show there that was really good. And they're going to wrap things up July the 4th in Missoula, Montana. And there are actually some key Canadian dates on here as well. Nothing in Toronto, Vancouver, or Montreal, but July 2nd and 3rd, they're going to be playing in Edmonton and Calgary, Alberta. And then this one too, I don't necessarily going to be buying tickets for this, but Dave Matthews Band going on tour across North America as well, opening things up April 27th in New Orleans before wrapping things up August 31st in Quincy, Washington. They're going to be playing July the 8th in Toronto. We can only hope that their tour bus does not dump any shit on anybody, but you never know what's going to happen with the Dave Matthews Band. And then the final thing that I want to mention is that the Warped Tour is coming back. This is really cool. If anybody grew up in the 2000s, the Warped Tour is coming back after they pretty much kiboshed the entire thing a few years ago, but it's coming back for a limited run at 3 different cities across the U.S. in Washington, D.C. in June, Long Beach, California in July, and then Orlando, Florida in November. They haven't announced the full lineup yet, but there are a couple of bands that have been announced so far. We have Bowling for Soup, Pennywise, The Story So Far, which is really cool, Simple Plan, State Champs, The Main. Some fans online have been complaining that the lineup skews a slightly newer than it does older, although I see quite a nice balance here. We got Bowling for Soup and Pennywise, Simple Plan, which are kind of the old guard of punk rock, and then you have the new guard of punk rock, Story So Far, State Champs, The Main, and that kind of thing. So far with this lineup, it's pretty balanced, and I think it's going to be pretty good. I actually never went to Warped Tour. It came around my area a lot of times when I was younger. I never really felt like I was really a Warped Tour guy. Like, I like punk rock. I probably like it a lot more now than I did when I was younger, but I never went to Warped Tour. For me, the big festival that I used to go to back when I was in high school was Edge Fest, which was in Barrie, Ontario. Edge Fest was a huge festival that was run by Edge 102.1 The Edge, which is still a radio station in Toronto. It was the best shows that I ever went to. I'm not so much into going to sit in a festival field in the mud and the rain or whatever nowadays, but I remember my Edge Fest days very, very fondly, and I actually kind of regret that I never went to Warped Tour, because I know so many music fans really have that great association with the Warped Tour and those memories. But for me, it was Edge Fest that was the big one when I was growing up. But you know what? Talk about tours, guys, and this is kind of just scratching the surface, because I saw a lot of other tours from different bands being announced online as well. But check this out, okay? So we have Nine Inch Nails doing their Peel It Back tour. We have Jet going on tour, Incubus playing Morning View and the hits across North America, the Warped Tour coming back for 3 shows, LS Dunes going out on tour in support of their latest album Violet, Modest Mouse going on tour, Dave Matthews Band. It just goes on and on and on. It's February, and all the bands are outlining their schedules and itineraries for 2025. How us fans, music fans, can afford all these concerts with the way that the prices are these days, I don't know, but maybe I will try to go to a couple of shows. Again, I spent most of my my gig budget, my show budget for 2025 on Oasis tickets, and then I got tickets to go see Stereophonics in Toronto in March. But there are a lot of different tours, so hop down in the comments below and let me know which of these big rock tours for 2025 that you're looking forward to the most.